We are back with a different studio setup to match my different hair. We have a Bobbiana going on, a bob. I hope you like it. Tell me if you do down in the comments. But you know I had to come on here and give my 2 cents. That's one thing I'm going to do. I'm giving my 2 cents about Tom Bower's book. So we're talking about betrayal. I kind of thought it could be a test for us to see if we know these excerpts out of context, what they're referring to. I think this book is a timeline. Yeah, he's really just putting into one book everything that we have looked at and researched in our videos on YouTube and also in mainstream media. I hope I don't disturb my bob, but here we go. Let's jump right in. One of the big things that came out is that Harry has been brainwashed. Camilla Parker Bowles said this according to Tom Bower. Ah, yes, Camilla. Some may call queen and some may not. Anyway, she said that she believes Harry's been brainwashed, and there has been a debate about that. You know, was Harry brainwashed? Did he just find his kindred spirit in Meghan? Tom Bower said that this was something that Camilla was concerned about, as if I know how we feel about Camilla, girl. I'm not even gonna front with you. We know that Camilla herself should not be talking. I mean, if she had any self-awareness, she should not be talking about usurping and brainwashing. What do you think? Tell me down in the comments. By the way, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, because I'm about to go in a deep dive here. Tom Bower talks about this brainwashing, and I'll tell you where I think it comes from.
The problem is that Meghan has huge ambition. She is a very resilient, attractive woman to look at because of the mystery. But actually, there's a lack of talent. She wasn't a great actress. She's not a great television performer. She was terrific at dishing the dirt, or her dirt, on the royal family. And she's reached the end of the road.
So I had to put on my glasses because I think Tom Bower is lacking his specs. He needs to look properly at Meghan Markle, that she is an attractive woman. I mean, that is, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But at the same time, Meghan has changed a lot. Her looks have changed a lot. So I don't know if he's looking at the old Meghan, the new Meghan, or whatever he is looking at. But to say she's attractive, I think that was probably just a diplomatic thing to say about her, because he slates her completely in his book. And there ain't no way that he actually finds her attractive, is there? But anyway, this whole brainwashing thing that he goes into, I think it has got to go back, and he does go back in his book Betrayal to the revenge book, where he talks about the fact that Camilla made a joke about a ginger baby with afro hair.
Conversation, I'm told and I believe, was very early on in their relationship, and already is talking about marriage, but long before their engagement is even announced, let alone they're married and she's pregnant. And he's sitting in Clarence's house with then Prince Charles and Camilla. And Camilla just laughingly says, well, any child you'll have will probably have brown skin and ginger hair. And they all laugh, including Harry. I mean, it's not because of racism. It's just one of those things everybody imagines. When somebody is pregnant close to you, you wonder what the child will look like. But it was not said as anything other than
a concern. That's what Meghan claimed, that it was a concern about how dark the baby would be.
This is actual evidence on Oprah's show that you can see where Meghan takes that comment, changes it into a racist comment that somebody had concerns about. It was one occurrence or one conversation, and she tries to make it into several conversations, and it goes on and on like that. To see that in real time for Camilla, if she remembers making a comment about ginger skin and afro hair, she would have been like, but that's not how it went. It wasn't several members of the royal family, and of course Meghan made it into Princess Catherine's comment, King Charles's comment. Eventually, as time went on, we saw that unfold. But in the very beginning, and I said this in my very first video that went viral, is that this is a conversation that is normal. And also, she's not telling us enough about who said what and all of that. So this is a long time debate when it comes to this comment. But if the blame is on Camilla now for making such a benign statement, this is normal conversation to be like, I wonder if the child will be like this. I wonder if the child will come out with a bleach blonde bob. You know? If the person was truly a racist and bigoted, they would not say anything. It is the ones who say nothing and then behind your back say some other crazy stuff that they cannot even let you hear. Those are the ones you have to be concerned about. But if you're sitting around a table laughing, as this excerpt says, and kikiing about what do you think the baby will look like? And then Harry himself was in interviews talking about, I don't know if my ginger genes will really stand up to Meghan Markle's genes. I don't know. I always wonder. And he's thinking about it too. So if she's calling anybody racist, she should call her husband racist. But it's not a racist thing to be curious about that. And if somebody is curious about it, the best thing for you to do is educate them. Say, with mixed race couples, you never know what you get. It's anything. It's a lucky dip. And then this is what happens, because Oprah has no experience with mixing race. A lot of us on here, and I know I have a lot of subscribers too, who have a lot of mixture in their families. And somebody like Oprah literally has none, because in America, it's not as racially fluid as it is in the UK. And because of the civil rights, the all those laws and all those segregation things and all those things that went on, a lot of Black Americans don't have any experience with race mixing. They don't. And that is why they would see somebody like Meghan Markle as the Black Queen. They really don't understand about mixture and about how Meghan Markle is not a representative and how somebody like Meghan Markle can pass for white. They don't understand how she could pass for white. They don't get it because they don't know anything about it. And Oprah has no children, and Stedman is a I don't know. I don't want to go there. Anyway, just moving on from that. Yeah, Camilla's an asshole. But at the same time, she didn't say anything that was racist. But that might be where the first brainwashing was noticed. The origin story, if you will. If Meghan could get Harry to twist the whole narrative about race and the child and everything, then yeah, maybe he's brainwashed. Now, let's get to the real queen, Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth did not trust Meghan Markle. And again, we knew about this. We knew how she was very guarded and very suspicious of Meghan Markle. She did not trust Meghan and suspected Harry had been manipulated. Lest we forget that even after Meghan was given advice to stay behind the Queen, she chose to walk in front of the Queen. Another tidbit we've recently found out is that Queen Elizabeth refused to take Prince Harry's calls without a witness to keep a record of what was said. Of course, the Queen knew that Harry also had Meghan monitoring all his calls with her. So now we go on to, speaking of true colors, we go on to the dictator in heels. Tom Barr mentions this in his book. He said that he had talked to people. He did a lot of research and he talked to a lot of people. Girl, I don't know how he got people to tell him things, but some people can get people to tell them things that they would not tell other people. Meghan would become cold and withholding toward the person she perceived to be responsible. This is Meghan's bullying and anybody she worked with. People said that they left because they couldn't live with themselves anymore. I mean, obviously Meghan had people being really horrible to their co-workers or to other people, and she was sort of playing a game of chess, and these people were just pawns that she would just, pit people against people and all this kind of stuff. And people left because of that. And we know from the Vanity Fair magazine article that Meghan also sent people to therapy to debrief themselves from their encounters with her and from working with her. They talk about the whisper shout, and we have seen evidence of that as well. I mean,
we were meant to fly.
Yes, we were meant to fly.
We were gonna fly. Yeah.
But yes, it was a plane we went on. Remember that one? And she does not like to be corrected. She's the one who has anger management problems. So using a whisper shout, explain an eyewitness of her controlled rage. I would call it uncontrolled, but okay. I'm so happy that he has brought this all to light in one book so that a lot of people that didn't follow the details of Meghan Markle or got Meghan Markle fatigue or got tired of her can actually realize what's going on in this world, okay? And why so many videos are being made of her. She's really a deplorable human being. And people need to call that out. So speaking of rage, Tom Bauer then goes on to talk about how Meghan Markle was so angry that nobody gave her classes on how to cross her legs and be a lady. And this came from the Oprah interview where she... Huh? And notice how she tries to isolate herself as a victim again. Oh, they might have done it for other people, but not for me. Girl, what? Of all the people, they would have done it for you. And they did. And she rejected each of the tutors that she was given. And we know that, including one who was black. And she rejected him specifically because he was black, because she said he doesn't know how to teach somebody that looks like her. That's a T. Yes, she was given a 30-point dossier covering every aspect of royal life. She was even unaware of the teachings of the Bible. What? But I thought she went to Catholic school. So he found a lot of holes in her story and then he went and did his research. Another thing she says they missed with her is that she didn't have any mental health because she had to go and make an appointment with Human Resources, HR. I mean, that just sounded so fake. Like when I heard it, I was like, HR? You mean to say, and I said this in my video a long time ago, okay, that they couldn't bring somebody in, a psychiatrist in to talk to you through the back entrance, through the front entrance? I mean, you know what I mean? There's people been sneaking in people. I don't even want to go there because YouTube does not like that. Okay. But Andrew, okay. I mean, sneaking in people all the time. Oh, come on now. Winfrey did not ask Harry, the patron of a mental health charity with 7 years experience of receiving medical help for his own problems, living in a city with thousands of medical specialists, why, after witnessing his wife unsuccessfully seek help from a heartless human resources specialist in the palace, he did little to seek specialist help. The same question was also not asked of Meghan. Instead, Winfrey watched her guests shed a tear, but not enough to smudge her immaculate makeup. Oprah did not ask for any evidence or the name of the palace official. Meghan's truth was not questioned. But she didn't really go for help. That's the bottom line. And that is why Harry said he felt responsible, because she only spoke to him about her health. So on one hand, you're trying to blame HR, but on the other hand, your husband is blaming himself because he's saying, you, Meghan, only spoke to him about the health, the mental health. So which is it? Oh, another thing I realized looking at Tom Bower's back end research is that this Oprah interview was completely scripted. That's something I never really was sure of before. I had an inkling that maybe it was, but I think all these questions were rehearsed and all these reactions as well as the 3-second countdown before reacting was rehearsed. And even then it was contradicted between Meghan and Harry. You can't help people like Meghan and Harry. They're untalented. They're not even able to do something worth $9 million. You give me $9 million. I'm not messing up a script. I certainly will not be doing that. I don't be doing that. Okay. Tom Bower also addresses the serving up the child. Remember, Meghan talked about how the child couldn't take the photos. Archie couldn't have photos, family photos taken because there was no security. They wanted him served up on a silver platter and she weren't having it because it wasn't safe for him. But at the same time, the real reason was that she wanted to monetize the family photos. According to Tom Bower's new book, Betrayal, she refused to release the first photos of Archie to the British media. Indeed, those images went exclusively to CBS right after she laid the groundwork for her Oprah interview.
You're at work and you have a photograph of your child on your desk and your coworker says, "Oh my gosh, can I see all the pictures of your child?" You go, "No, this is the picture I'm comfortable sharing with you. You know what, I'm just gonna hide in the bushes and take pictures into your backyard because you shared one image with."
So you see how crazy she looks there? Okay, first of all, which coworker says, "I want to see all the pictures of your child"? She's absolutely out of her mind. She's such a liar that she doesn't even see how obvious it is. So she doesn't want the photos taken of the child, but then she sells them to CBS. In what world could you make this comparison? And that leads us to our next excerpt. I think everyone's very familiar with this one. Protecting the family's privacy. The worldwide privacy to all ladies and gentlemen. Meghan broke convention by forbidding any photos of Archie with the Queen and Prince Philip to be shared with the media. Buckingham Palace's most senior officials quietly agreed for the first time that Meghan was a goddamn liar. We weren't asked to take a picture of Meghan initially. That was part of the spin that was really damaging. Clearly realizing that this was inaccurate, she then admitted that she herself had banned the photos. That was, she told Oprah Winfrey, her protest about the palace denying Archie a prince's title and also police protection. Quote, I was very scared of having to offer up our baby, knowing that they weren't going to be kept safe. Both those explanations were untrue, but contradictions in Meghan's narrative were not unusual, says Tom Bauer. There's a lot of doth protest too much, going on here. If you have a baby, shorty baby. What is this thing about? I didn't want the child to be scrutinized because at the same time I was using a doll. A fake baby. I don't know if the baby is fake because she was totally paranoid about I don't know what, or if she used a fake baby because she didn't have a real one. But it is very weird. In the book, they also spoke about Archie's birth, the gynecologist. Nothing was done properly. Nothing was done according to protocol with the birth of Archie. And then Lilibet even worse because she was born in the United States and there was even more smoke and mirrors around her birth. But when something is weird and there have been thousands of years of tradition that she is contravening, people do come to conclusions that are also weird. Like the baby's not real, the fake baby, the actor children, the fake pregnancy. Don't be surprised if people come to that conclusion based on your Meghan Markle's behavior. And then, of course, she went on to expose her children. Now she has completely put her children out there. She's trying to decide how much money they can make for her. Just like in the first instance, she is still trying to see how the money can be made off of them today when she is putting out these little snippets of the back of their head. As I said, whether they be actors or not, do not mind. She is still trying to get some numbers and how it's trending and how it's not trending. And she cares a lot about trending because she was very proud of herself when she did the baby bump dance, in the hospital, when she put that video out and that video went viral. She was super excited that she finally got something to go, I guess, right? I don't know if she considers it right because, of course, it was a lot of numbers, but it was really wrong because people thought she was a madass. Anyway, here we go. Tom Bauer talks here about a critical moment. Carson Daly turned to Harry and asked, what do you think a healthy social media environment will look like in the future when you think about the work that your foundation is doing? I guess that's the Parents Network. That's not his foundation. They just jumped on that. That foundation had been around for 10 years. Nonplussed, Harry replied, I don't know. Meghan turned to very briefly stare at Harry and then poured out a lengthy explanation. Word salad is what we call it in the business, confirming that neither had a plan for safe social media because when they hitch their wagons to these causes, they don't actually care about nothing. Anyway, off the back of all of that privacy stuff for the children and everything, here's my hot take on how this book has affected Harry and his children and the protection. I think Harry has used Tom Bauer's book as some sort of catalyst to say, look, this deranged, fixated man is writing books. Therefore, Harry thinks he needs his protection because guess what? He's trying to bring his family to the UK. Well, he doesn't say Meghan, but now he's saying he wants the children to come and see Charles. He hasn't been given this police protection that he's seeking from the taxpayers in the UK, but he's trying to say now he really needs it because look, a book has been written about him. Tom Bauer says in his book that Meghan said, quote, she said she wants on the coat of arms a songbird with its tongue cut out. I don't know. Honestly, I love this for Tom Bauer. However, he has got this information. It's wild. She did get this songbird with the mouth open, and someone mocked up this one with her legs open. It's crazy that she is so insane that she will focus on the coat of arms having a tongue cut out, rather than just not wanting anything to do with the royal family. It's one or the other. Woodcock, I guess the person who was designing the coat of arms, was flummoxed. Any hint of nostalgia was quashed by her moral certitude. The Duchess eventually agreed to a nightingale, but without the image of it being forcibly silenced. It is these red flags that make the royal family look very much at fault for not just axing the titles from then. Because if I'm the royal family and I'm hearing that she is demanding a coat of arms being drawn that makes her look like a victim. I'm saying you don't need a coat of arms, you don't need a title, you don't need a crown, you don't need nothing. So thank you for letting me know, Meghan Markle, that you want to look crazy and you want to make us look crazy. And that means you get nothing. And that would have, solved the problem from way back when. Anywho, talking about them milking their entitlement, we have Harry and his attorney Sherborne. Now, you know that I have a certain soft spot for Sherborne because he is a theater kid, very much like myself. I like his crazy holding court outside the court that he does. Anyway, it turns out that he is so highly invested because the lawyers, all the claimants' lawyers, in fact, according to Tom Bower's book, worked on a contingency basis. No win, no fee. We know what that is. That might explain why he is working overtime, even outside the court after the hearings, to secure the bag. Anyway, speaking of lawsuits, many lawsuits should have been filed against Meghan Markle for plagiarism. And Tom Bower's book does go into that. Pearl Power. So when she wanted to do this Netflix, so we're going to get into Netflix a bit too here. Best-selling Pearl Power books between 2014 and 2016 to write to Meghan in July 2021. The similarities between your proposed animation series and my client's work appear to be too many and too striking to be a mere coincidence. Not having received a reply, her lawyers wrote again in February 2022. That is the original Pearl Power author. Not having received a reply, her lawyers wrote again in February 2022. Again, there was no reply. The series was eventually cancelled in May 2022. The excuse issued by Netflix was that Meghan's pitch failed to tell a visual story. Even given the cliff notes, Meghan could not produce a film. Girl, you didn't even have to write the story. You stole the story and you still could not figure out how to, you know what I mean? Like, you've been given the cheat code. And there were other projects that she was plagiarizing as well that they could not go forward with because they have to do their due diligence. They have to fact check everything that she brings to them because they know that she's a dishonest plagiarist. And if they then go with that idea without getting their legal team involved to check it, they will be liable. So I think that, coupled with the projects that actually did come to fruition, like with Love Meghan and the As Ever brand and all those things, I think that Netflix quickly figured out that they have to cut off ties with Meghan, and so they did that. But I always said from the beginning that they have been chasing this Puff the Magic Dragon, the first set of numbers they got from the documentary. The problem is that Meghan had one story to tell, which was how much she hated the royal family and how terrible they are. And that was done in the documentary. And after she told that story, there was no way for her to milk it. I don't know why in her mind she thought she could milk it. There was no other chance at having those kind of numbers again. And I think that Netflix really had to sit with that and reckon with that there was no way they could get more out of Meghan than they got out of her. In the book Betrayal, Tom Bower gives a little bit of the inside story on how Netflix dealt with that. Both Bajaria and Ted Sarandos acknowledged that Harry and Meghan were no longer Netflix's golden duo, but they brought value to Netflix's stable. How? When trying to persuade other celebrities to make a show with the streamer, Netflix cited their trusted relationship with the Sussexes. That must have been early days, girl. Early days. There ain't no way that Netflix really was getting other celebrities to sign up after Meghan and Harry's reputations were in the garbage, and they have been ever since. And they've been trying to get out of the contract with Meghan and Harry ever since because they realized that Meghan and Harry were no longer relevant and they had to keep doing stunts to keep their relevancy. One such stunt is the New York City car chase, which Tom Bower also discusses in his book. Everyone remembers the fake near catastrophic car chase where Harry and Meghan were trying to be like Princess Diana in the back of the car, literally taking the same photos that she had. Mike Lombardi, the precinct's police officer, was puzzled by Hassan's claim the Sussexes he knew never entered the police station, girl, nor did the Sussexes make a complaint or request. And that is where you get the Adams coming out and saying, you know, he don't know, but if he knew, he would say probably they can't do a car chase like that in New York. And the whole thing just dissipated into nothing. Speaking of trying to become relevant, we had the For Colombia tour, and Tom Bower again talks about that in his book and says that Marquez, who is the vice president of Colombia. On Marquez's orders, a source of funding for the success of his trip was to remain secret. Of course, all this came out because people were suspicious, and Marquez herself was trying to get things really above board in Colombia. Colombia is a country which has been through a lot of civil war and a lot of questionable things in the past, so she was trying to keep everything above board. It turned out that there's all these bills that were paid by Colombia, and then George Soros, the billionaire fund manager, Marquez agreed with Meghan that Soros' involvement should be kept secret, including their use of private jets. So some of the Colombia trip was paid for by Soros, which is something that we did not see before. Tom Bauer uncovered that.
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's lavish 4-day tour of Colombia in 2024 was secretly financed by billionaire George Soros to the tune of nearly $3.8 million. That is according to author Tom Bauer's new book, Betrayal.
Controversial billionaire George Soros reportedly secretly paid the pricey tab for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's fall Royal Colombian tour. And why is Soros so controversial? Well, he is the Hungarian-born American billionaire, investor, and philanthropist who broke the Bank of England in 1992. Soros famously bet against the British pound, making a $1 billion profit in a single day when the currency crashed. This established his reputation as a predatory speculator who profited from a national economic crisis. But he's also had problems with other countries, including his native country of Hungary and also India. I don't know. He's done a lot of shit. I always said that Francia Marquez was really taken for a fool, to the point where Meghan was even there flirting with Marquez's man, and it almost turned into a fight girl. As you can see here, Marquez has to shove check her own man and then get in between said man and Meghan Markle to break up the love affair that is going on, and then Harry bumbles his way in quickly as well. Anyway, one person that Meghan Markle could not trick was Dr. Chandauka. This is a really big part of the book. Tom Bauer really goes in to unveil all of the problems between Chandauka and Harry and Meghan in terms of the funding, in terms of the sponsors, in terms of the donations. Everything was ruined by Meghan Markle, and he does not hold back when talking about Chandauka. I feel like he might have had a personal interview with Chandauka to where he could get all of this back end secretive, meetings and so on. How Chandauka told Harry, look, people don't want to be associated with your Netflix shows. This is not your brand, especially not with Meghan. And Tom Bauer goes on to explain how Chandauka explained to them how it was not a good look. And we know that what happened in the end was that they did lose sponsors because of Meghan Markle. Okay. Another thing that Tom Bauer touches on, which I think was really important as well, is Meghan's relationship with her father and the lies and the retelling of the narrative that she chose to do, trying to erase her father's presence from her life, when in fact, daily for nearly 10 years, Thomas Markle dropped Meghan off at school and at the end of the afternoon would either collect her or send a limousine, I mean, how many kids can say that, to bring her to the studio from the Pretties or another school friend while he finished work. He dressed her in her school uniform. The curly-haired girl with a gap in her front teeth sat I don't know, the shade Tom Bauer, okay, with a gap in her front teeth, sat in the wings of the set in her Catholic school uniform while the actors occasionally participated in shooting adult scenes, apparently. The sacred and the profane, she would later say. It was a very perverse place to grow up.
Children, do you
seen
remember
it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I grew up on the set of Married with Children every day after school for 10 years. I was there.
Wow.
I know. It's a very perverse place because I'm there in my school uniform, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then the guests.
It's a joke kind of a joke.
Oh gosh, that went left quickly. And so how we come to a conclusion about all these excerpts is that, yes, this timeline is correct. Tom Bauer has used a lot of resources that have already been out there, so he can't get sued, honey. He's talked about other people's resources. But the main question, you can put down in the comments about this, when will it end? So let's hear what Tom Bauer thinks is the real end.
Well, there is no end until the royal family puts it down. That's where I disagree with Dickie. He's part of the old school. This is totally unprecedented. We've never been here before. And the issue really is that once Harry's book is over, of course, there's Meghan's book. And once Meghan's book has been published, and she undoubtedly, they've carved it up, she'll probably attack Camilla and other members of the families to keep it all going, there'll be Harry and Meghan's book. You know, there is no end until they are silenced by exposing their nefarious, their greedy, their money hunting, fame hunting ambitions. And, you know, I come back to it. My book shows that Meghan is an agent of destruction. All the evidence accumulated is that she's a narcissist who destroyed her father, who broke off with her mother's family, who filled the wedding chapel in Windsor with her Hollywood celebrities to further her career. And we are just in an uncharted territory. And the old rules of dignified silence, in my view, will not end this. It needs to be put down in a very, very brutal manner.
Tom, thank you very much.
So all that to say that Tom Bauer is doing the Lord's work. This flea-bitten narcissistic destroyer has to be exposed by the common folk like Tom Bauer and the rest of us, because the royal family is still doing this silence thing and it's really not working out for them. So yes, congratulations to Tom Bauer and welcome to the fraternity, sorority, whatever you want to call it, of people who are calling Meghan Markle out. And on that note, I'm going to say goodbye, and I love you so much and you know that. But don't forget to subscribe, press the bell notifications. Oh, and this is a public service announcement. If you got to the end of this video with me, please don't forget to subscribe to my other channel, Leilani VODs, where I'll be uploading different content, including live streams, panels, and details of my life. I'm working on a video of my trip to the beautiful country of Finland. See you over there as well. Love you so much. Bye.